on social media for this one was there were a lot of people who would have been very upset if Stephen Kwan was traded, and I think there are a lot of people who are really happy right now, and I'm happy too because it says, hey, we're going to at least make a shot and try and make a run at this thing. I think it's going to be
Mhm.
ill-fated for us, but as a fan, man, I want to be in this thing for the second half. Who knows what happens? What are we, 2.5 out in the wild card, about 8 games
Mhm.
back of Detroit? So anything can still happen, and he gives you a little bit of hope.
Mhm. Yeah, Emerson, what are your thoughts?
I definitely thought Quan was getting traded, and I'm just scared. I don't know how I really feel about it. Quan is one of my favorite players on the team, just from a fan perspective. So obviously, I don't want to let him go. I was heartbroken when we traded Josh Naylor. It's just, I
Yeah.
hate that being in Cleveland, we have to get rid of guys like Quan. Obviously, we got rid of Lindor, Naylor. I hate that we Bieber now. We have to ship those guys off because just the way the being in Cleveland works. It's just I don't even know how to explain how I feel from a fan, but from an organization, I thought we would have traded him because now, like exactly what you were just saying, I don't know what Quan is thinking right now. I'm scared if I'm in the organization. Quan might request a trade because he's hearing all this stuff in the media. Oh, they're going to trade me for this. They're going to trade me here. So he may not want to be here anymore because he's hearing that we are willing to get rid of him. So now the extension in the future, that may be gone now. We don't know what Quan is thinking. That's what's scaring me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the things is, um, I'm hearing that he might not sign with the Guardians when that contract time comes because first of all, we know the Guardians aren't going to offer him anything substantial. And then secondly, I heard that he wants to go out west and be back at home. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Stephen Kwan. Like you said, Emerson, I love him too. He's one of my favorite players, but he gets the offense going and he is so critical and crucial. And you look at if the Guardians did something today, if they looked to get rid of Stephen Kwan, that meant that they were done with the season. You still,
Yeah.
I know that they probably won't be able to catch up to Detroit, but I kind of have a little bit of hope because if you look at this, if they get hot again, like they did after going into the All-Star break by sweeping the Astros, if they get hot again and play on a good stretch and win the majority of the games, they can catch Detroit. Detroit has proved itself that they can be slayed. They went on a 9-game losing streak. There are more losing streaks to come. This baseball, it's a very long season. You're not going to win every game. There's a possibility that the Guards could get very close to Detroit, possibly overtake them. I know, is probably not in all likelihood. But if you get baseball is about getting hot at the right time, and if they get hot at the right time, there could be a possibility. Now they're just a couple games out of the wild card behind Seattle, I believe, still as of today behind Seattle. Josh Naylor, but I think some things can be done possibly. I know it's a long shot, but just go with the flow, fellas. Just go with me here.
Yeah, and
I
there's hope, right? I mean, you look at our schedule the second half, it's one of the easiest in the league. I mean, we just got done with the
Mm-hmm.
Rockies. We got
mhm.
Minnesota coming up. We know that Minnesota's divesting by what they've been doing. So there is definitely a possibility, and we've seen it before. Detroit tracked us down a few years ago, so we could certainly turn the tables on them and get them. And I could see a scenario where they go on a skid and we get on fire. It's going to be dependent upon how the team progresses in the next 48 hours, in my mind. Whether they come together after what happened at the trade deadline and say, hey, guess what? It's the world against us. Stephen Kwan, I don't know what the organization feels about you, but I do know what the fans feel about you, and they love you, man. And if he wants to rally the team, get the team going, and this team can really, kind of mold together, I could see them going on a run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Especially in the next coming weeks because I'm looking at our schedule. You just said Twins. Right after that, play the Mets. Then we go White
Yeah.
Sox, Braves, Marlins. I mean, all teams below 500. We could go on a crazy run right here. The Mets is going to be a little tricky, obviously, but other than that, if we can take two, just avoid getting swept in that series. I mean, very, very likely we can sweep the White Sox. Marlins, we can be in the series, Braves, and then Diamondbacks. I mean, very
And we're
easy
starting to
schedule.
see we're starting to see the hitting come around a little bit, right? I mean, the
Yes.
pitching's
Mhm,
been pretty good all season long. That's been pretty consistent. But now we're
mhm,
starting to see Manzardo come on a little bit. These guys are starting to put it together. I mean, it's not, we're not the murderers row, we're not the Yankees from back in the day, but
mm-mm,
I think these young guys are starting to catch their stride a little bit. And if they do it at the right time, then we've got
mhm,
something.
mhm. They have to because that losing streak was brutal. You had
Oh,
over 5 games where you got shut out. You also just couldn't hit the ball, and you were losing 1-run games. It was just brutal. So, excuse me. I think Stephen Vogt has learned a little bit as well because this isn't the team that he managed last year. Last year, he was kind of coast mode. They pretty much were the best team in the AL last year. And then the Yankees took that lead a little bit. Well, they took the lead and, beat us in the ALCS to go to the World Series. So I definitely think that this is an opportunity for him to really manage. And the team, like you said, came around, Reflog, with their hitting, and that was something that they
yeah.
weren't doing in the losing streak. And one of the things is when you lose like that, everything goes wrong. Kyle Manzardo had 3 errors in one game and they had 2 hits. Just everything goes wrong. Where you see that with the Colorado Rockies as well. When you're a losing team like that, nothing goes right for you. And those Rockies came in there that first game with some fight to them, and
Hmm.
you couldn't stop them, and they were just eating up a Guardians pitching and things like that. So I really thought that they were going to sweep the Guardians were going to sweep Colorado, but that didn't happen. But that one game where they were hitting home runs and stuff like that, and they just went down with some fight. So you feel sorry for Colorado a little bit. I don't really still feel sorry for professional athletes or anything like that. When you make millions of dollars, I don't really feel sorry for you. But those were some pretty good games, even though the Guardians were able to win the last two and run away with it. So what are you guys' opinion on them trading Shane Bieber today? Shane Bieber has had some good moments in a Guardians uniform, Guardians/Indians uniform. Cy Young winner. He was injured 2 years ago now and was looking to make his comeback to the Guardians. And for whatever reason, the Guardians love trading with the Toronto Blue Jays. Mark Shapiro,
Yeah.
is their GM. So they have this special trade agreement. I don't know, send everybody to Toronto, but he's going to Toronto now. So a little bit sad about this because I felt like maybe Shane coming back could be a little bit of a spark for this team, but we're not going to have that. What are you guys' thoughts about Shane leaving this team and the mark that he left and the legacy that he's going to have? Chris, we'll take you first.
Yeah, obviously no tariffs in this transaction between the Guardians and Toronto. We were constantly, like you said, doing deals with them. And hey, I said this on Twitter. I like the return we got. I hate the fact that we have to do this so often, right? I mean, I think this was the right move for the organization to get rid of Bieber. I think they got a nice return. I really like the pitcher that we got back for this. But we've seen it so much, you get fatigued where we develop our own guys and then they go off to another organization. I just hate
Mhm,
that over and over and over. And I understand why we have to do it. That's the economics of it. That's where we're at. But, our ownership group does have deeper pockets than they let on. They really
mhm,
do. And they could spend a little bit more. Once again, I think it's a good move in this case, but I hate the fact that we continually have to go through this. And you had to, and I know we just had the conversation about Quan, but you had so many people that were on pins and needles for him again. Another guy that's developed here that we've gotten a nice return from, but you really, the real fruits of his labor haven't been seen yet. and could potentially be seen somewhere else. And I think they're eventually going to. And you hate to have that. That's why it's so cool to have guys like Jose. But even when you got a guy like that, you bring back, he takes the hometown discount for us. You
Mhm.
really don't surround him with a team that you think is going to get anywhere. And then they use that as some kind of an excuse because, hey, well, we're paying him. So he's our one guy. So we really can't afford a lot of, talent around it. So we got to develop guys. Once they get good, then we trade them off. And the cycle continues. So I'm frustrated by that. But I think in this instance, I think it was a good move in trading Bieber.
I think from a fan standpoint, I'm ready to cry. Shane Bieber and I, we share a dentist together. That, like,
That,
man.
Y'all share a dentist?
Yeah,
that's a bond
Oh,
right
okay.
there.
man. So that's my guy. But from an organization standpoint, I am so happy with this guy we just got. A second
Yeah.
round pick. I think this guy has potential to be better than Shane Bieber was. I think this guy is the future ace for us. I absolutely love this trade from the organization standpoint. A second round pick.
Top five. A top 5
Mhm.
prospect out of their
Man.
organization. I thought that was really when I saw that, that was much better than I would have expected.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how you guys were thinking, but I didn't think I thought we'd get kind of a middle of the road
Mhm.
developmental player. If they ever turn out to be anything, that'd be great. Maybe even a veteran rental. Who knows what we would end up
Mhm.
getting for him. But to get a top prospect and just about everybody saying this guy's pretty darn good.
Yeah.
Uh this could be fun. This could be one of those gems that we really turn around. This front office could really have one here.
And just in case our audience doesn't know, he was traded straight up for right-handed pitcher Cal Steffen, excuse me.
Yeah.
So he was traded straight up for him. And if you guys think that this pitcher is going to be great, then I'm all with that. Even though Shane has not been with us for almost 2 years, you still miss him. He was still a Gold Glove, won the Cy Young
Yep.
Award winner, All-Star, All-Star MVP.
Yep.
There's just a lot of accolades to Shane Bieber, and like you said, Reflog, that I feel as though we are the feeder team for everybody in Major League Baseball. They come and pluck our guys, especially when it's time to play, time for them to get paid. And you just think back, Cliff Lee, Justin Masterson, what's that other pitcher that
CC
gosh,
Sabathia. CC
yeah,
Sabathia who just went
CC.
into the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
Another guy that we you just can't keep these guys around, unfortunately. You get frustrated by it. But like you said, nice return, really nice return. I think this guy would be even better if he goes back to his haircut he had in college. I don't know if you've looked at pictures of him, but he had this fluff out back. It was just fantastic. He needs to get the long hair. Bring back the Samson look. Samson can't cut his locks. I like this guy.
I definitely need to see that. But,
Yeah.
I don't want to be a feeder team for the rest of Major League Baseball.
No.
What needs to happen is what's the new owner's last name? I forgot.
Blitzer. David Blitzer.
Thank you, David Blitzer.
Yep.
He's worth about over $3 billion. So I can't wait until he comes and takes over things. Somebody was like, well, they could just be as bad as the Dolans. And I'm like, well, I'm not trying to hear that right now, because I hate when every small market team makes it to the World Series, because that just goes with the Dolans. Well, we don't have to pay a lot and we can still make it to the World Series. So I hate them having that attitude. And like I think about when the Rays made it to the World Series against the Dodgers and had a great series, and I'm just looking like, that gives credence that a small market team can make it to the World Series. So now the Dolans feel like they definitely don't have to pay anybody if they want people to stick around. So, that's one of my, I don't like that at all. And, with the Guardians making it to the ALCS last year, the Dolans, there goes their proof right there. So I'm just tired of losing good players when it comes to money. And like you said, we have Jose here, and he took that hometown discount. I never would. But he wanted to be here in Cleveland, which is great. I love that he loves Cleveland. But like you said, Reflog, that they haven't surrounded him with a winning team. And pretty much your offense right now has been Stephen Kwan and Jose. Angel,
Yeah.
has gotten in there and his bat has turned on, and he's a great number two. So I think that that's a great pitcher, not a great pitcher, but a great place in the batting order for him to get things started. But you got to have people that can drive them home, because they will load those bases. Angel and Jose and Stephen Kwan, and they will load the bases up. But when you get to the middle of the order, they have trouble bringing them home. But you're seeing little increments of improvement of hitting, something that we definitely struggle with during a losing
Yep.
streak. So I think that if we can continue to hit and pitch well, your starting pitching is pretty great, pretty good. So you can advance and work on this getting hot, because your starting pitcher hasn't been bad at all. And sometimes it's a little iffy. Tanner by B, I'm looking at you, giving up home runs. But this is some of the things that can be done to turn this organization around. And we got to get to let me check the time, Reflaw, because I don't know what you want to do. I don't know how long you want to stay with us. We can keep you at 20 minutes if you would like. But now, huh?
I was going to say, I appreciate being on with you guys. This has been a lot of fun. I tell you, one last thing, though. It's very frustrating when you go, like you said, from being in the ALCS last year, we were so close. And then the ownership does not invest in this team. That
Mm-hmm.
offseason is really killer because you had it. If you were going to give back Jose anything for what he sacrificed to come here, to stay here, to want to sign that contract, then at least invest then when we were so close. And unfortunately, that didn't happen. But you do have the remnants of a team right now that has good chemistry from all accounts, which is important. I think that gets downplayed sometimes. And so, like you said, there is that chance they can go on a roll. And hitting gets to be contagious. Just like you see this team going
Mm-hmm.
into slumps, you could also see them pick it up a little bit. You could see Stephen Kwan now that he knows he's going to be here. Now maybe there's a little bit of relief there. He starts regularly, and not that he's been exactly, bad or anything like that, but just more consistent there at the top. Then all of a sudden that starts to flow down, and people outside of Jose and Kwan start really hitting on his team, and especially the young guys. And then maybe we've got something. So leaving
Mm-hmm.
on a bit of positivity there. That's what I'm hoping for in the next couple of months. And who knows? Who knows what happens? Baseball is a weird animal, right? All you have to do is
Mm-hmm.
get into the playoffs. Right now, we're only 2.5 games out in the wild card, eight or so games out to catch the Tigers. You never know what's going to happen. So we'll see. We'll see. It should be fun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least entertaining. That's what Cleveland sports are. If we can't be good, at least be entertaining. And I'm sure even if we fall on our face, we're going to do it in a way that's just fantastic and entertaining.
Yes, and we appreciate you for coming on. Always a great guest. So I will definitely be in touch with you very soon. And you be good out there in Twitter land.
I'll try. See you guys.
All right, bye.
See
Thanks,
ya.
Chris. And Emerson, one of the things that took place, last week, and we were not on, well, it's a week when we do our show, but what took place last week was about Emmanuel Class A. How disappointing is this for you?
It's just ridiculous. I don't know what else to say. You are, in my opinion, the best closer in the league. I had a little slump this year, but if you really pay attention to outside of like the start of the year, what's happening recently, he's still top 10 in saves. He's been amazing. And you're betting on yourself. I'm looking at these clips that they're investigating. It's the ninth inning, first pitch. He's spiking it 5 feet in front of the plate. It's not even close. And it's just ridiculous because we hear that, and I think that sets us back so much because Emmanuel Clase was on the trade block. If we could have traded Clase, if we lose him for nothing, then that sets us back so much. If it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how he set us back so much. Could have traded him, got some pieces, prospects, a catcher, teams are throwing crazy trades for closers now. And we
Mhm.
could have traded our closer to get because our bullpen is still good with Cade Smith, Herron, Gaddis. I still like all of those guys. And then Clase comes in and just he kills it, in my opinion.
Do you think maybe he did this? Obviously, I guess the motivation is they get money from it, but do you think he wanted to stay in Cleveland? I know that sounds kind of far fetched, but
I mean, from what I've seen, I met him up at a mall, the North. I forgot what the mall is called, but he was out there just signing things. He let me take a picture with him. I was talking to his agent for a long time, and
oh,
then
really?
because I tried to get an interview with him for my podcast, and we were talking. He was like, "Yeah, just ask him about Cleveland, give him good stuff." So from what I've seen, I don't see any reason why he wouldn't want to be in Cleveland. He won. He went to two All-Star games here. And then he was the runner-up for a Cy Young as a closer, which is insane. Closers are not in the Cy Young. They pitch one inning a game. So Cleveland is giving him that. He's with these trainers. He's got a great foundation here in Cleveland. I don't understand why he would want to leave. At the end of the day, we don't know what he's thinking. But it's really irritating how we could have gotten so much for him if we traded him before all this came out, got a whole, anything we wanted. And now it sets us back if we lose him for nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm just I can't believe that they did this, though. Luis Ortiz, but they lockers still have all their gear in it.
Yeah.
So supposedly they coming back August 31st. It looked like they about to play another game. Ain't nothing been touched and stuff like that. Uniform still hanging in the locker and everything. Cause Ortiz's locker had been that way. So last night, I went to check on Clase's locker and his locker was still like that, jersey hanging up and everything. So, it looks like they out on, paternity leave or something like that, But yeah, this is really devastating. It's about trust, and it feels like you can't be trusted. Then on the game that Luis Ortiz is supposedly popped for cheating on was his best game against the Yankees.
Yeah.
He pitched so well that day.
Yeah.
Did we win that game or no? I can't remember.
We took one from the Yankees, I remember. I don't remember if it was the one he pitched.
Yeah, but that was his best game all year.
Because Luis Ortiz has kind of been he has been very shaky all year.
Yeah, up and down.
Yeah,
very up and down. Yeah, but now, is how many games has this taken place in, and then you see today the governor wants to eliminate micro bets. Now you're trying to change the whole industry because people made bad choices. Right. I don't think you should do that, mainly because I'm like, maybe I should start betting on these micro bets.
Yeah.
I don't really believe in gambling because I don't like stuff that's not set up for you to win. So
especially for you to lose.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm like, and then y'all altering games, excuse me, and it's like, okay, well, who else is doing this too?
Right.
Who else in the league is doing this? And you're doing it against against your team, so to say. So that's awful. This is just not good, and it is what it is, and let the punishment be what it may for doing what you weren't supposed to be doing. Mikal, is it Mikal? Not Mikal Richardson that play for the Knicks.
Mikal Bridges just signed.
Yeah, Mikal Bridges. Thank you. He got popped for gambling, but he just signed a new contract today. So Gilbert Arenas got popped for gambling. High stakes poker games at his house. Yeah. And did you ever watch on Netflix the special about him and Javaris Crittenton?
I didn't know.
It's a good special to watch because I didn't know about Gilbert Arenas all like that because he ain't in the league no more. You've been there and you move on. You know what I'm saying? Right. From these players when they're not in the league no more. Right. And they say that he like a lot of his teammates said that he a jokester and sometimes he take things too far. And he kind of thought he could do anything because he's the star of the Wizards,
Right.
common amongst athletes. They stars, they think they can do whatever they want. And
Right.
that incident with him and Javar's crediting with the guns and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
But that post that he made that he got out of jail and all that other stuff, I don't believe that a lawyer would ever tell him to post something like that. But it seems like you taking what's going on with the the justice system as a big joke. But you seeing everybody getting popped for gambling now, and it's just like, man, wow, what are
You make millions of dollars, and it's just
exactly, and you about to lose it all for nothing.
right, because you wanted more.
Yeah, and this is particularly devastating, to the fan base because you feel betrayed.
Exactly. Now, I mean, this is another thing going back to he set us back so far. I mean, game 5 of the ALCS led up that home run. No, that was Gaddis. But game 3, he almost blew it if Noel didn't have that miracle home run. He Judge and Stanton back to back, and Kerry Carpenter in the Tiger series. It's just so much stuff. And another thing about Clase is that he is so cocky. I cannot. Oh man, when he in game 3, when Noel and David Fry hit those big home runs, he went right on Instagram as soon as he got in there and posted a picture and video of all of his accolades, like all the awards he's won throughout his career, the All-Star games, all
Are
of
you
that.
serious?
Yes, and that is so. He's just like, oh yeah, I had a bad game, but I'm still the best in the world. I'm like that. You're so cocky, man. And
Oh my
for you to
God.
come out this year, starting how you did this year, no.
Well, end of last year though, too.
And the
Part of
last year turned into this year.
He was so was his last game when he gave up the 3-run home run?
No,
Was
because
that his last game before he got popped?
It might wait. Are you talking about? I don't remember his last game this year.
Because he
was hot this year, right before he got in trouble.
Okay,
because
he gave up a 3-run home run like right before he got popped.
It's just like you're obviously you've been great, but it's like, come on, that's just ridiculous. You posting all this stuff, you're just so cocky, and I can't stand it.
Well, they say there's no I in team, right?
Yeah, but he's saying there's an ME in there.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Exactly. Well, let's go ahead and move on. We got Cleveland Browns, in season. Training camp started. Mandatory training camp started just last week. And right now, not hearing the best things coming out of training camp. I was able to be out there last Saturday, but I had to leave early from training camp. So I had to leave when they was doing like the 11 on 11s. Mm-hmm. How optimistic are you, Emerson, for this Brown season? Because a lot of people think we're going to be really bad, but me and Kate played the schedule game, and we was able to find 6 to 7 wins in a schedule game where everybody's predicting we're going to have like 3 again.
I was at training camp as well this last Tuesday.
Yeah.
Awesome. Shout out Martin Emerson, man. I was there, tore his Achilles. Hope he does, recovers well. That sucks. But it's just guys got to step up now. That really sucked. But what I'm seeing for this team is that, man, I don't even know where to begin. Kenny Pickett's hurt. Martin Emerson's hurt. Just like, man, guys are dropping like flies out here. Judkins, who knows what's up with him? Like, I mean, I'm still – Jerome Ford's my guy, Cincinnati alum. That's where I go right now. Did an interview with
Did you get a chance to talk to him?
Yeah. Not at training camp, though. I've talked to him before, though. He did an interview for the podcast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's my guy. I'm really confident in him to be our RB1 last year. He ended the season averaging 5 yards a carry last year. And then this defense. I want to really talk about this defense. Our corners and DB, everything, I love it. I'm perfectly fine with Newsome, Denzel, and Delpit. Delpit, I think, is one of those underrated safety in the league. I truly think that this could be one of the best defenses in the league. Mason Graham at D tackle, Myles Garrett, and Isaiah McGuire. I was mad when we cut Obu Akarangu. That really made me upset. but I'm also very excited to see what Isaiah McGuire can bring, because Isaiah McGuire ended the season, started 4 games, and had 3 forced fumbles in those 4 games. And then Michael Hall, we didn't get to see much out of him last year because he was suspended for the first few games. And, you know, I'm excited for him. I'm excited for that whole D-line. And then the linebacking core, Devin Bush just got arrested as well. I mean, he's fine. He was out training camp, but these guys are going crazy in Cleveland. But Jerome Baker, I was so excited when he made that signing. Me and him went to the same high school. So I was really excited, you know, for him to be on the team. I know he's excited to be back in Cleveland, from Benedictine to Ohio State to the Browns. He's really excited. And I think that's just going to bring a lot of energy to this team. JOK sounds amazing right now, though, because our linebackers are the worst position on our defense, I fear. And what's his name? Alex Wright just retired. Not Alex Wright. One of our linebackers did just retire. So we are missing, you know, a lot of pieces. But I think that 2 years ago, this defense was the best defense in the league. And I'm seeing similar, you know, like, why can't it be better this year? I think our defense was really good last year, but the offense put them in such bad situations. And that's why, you know, I really am thinking about this Commanders game. Last year in week 4, I believe it was either 4 or 5. I think it was 4. We played the Commanders. That was the best defensive game I've seen them play all year. They let up 38 points. That's how horrible our offense was in that game. That was the defense looked, and especially with how far the Commanders went, the defense looked so good. That's what's annoying about this offense. And I think this year's offense will be different. We had no idea what the quarterback situation was last year. This year, we have 4 options, 3 young guys and a veteran. I don't know if all 4 will be on the roster to start the year, but I do know for sure that I'm not for sure, but I'm very confident in Joe Flacco starting week 1. And with Joe Flacco starting week 1, he's been in the offense. Him with Jerry Jeudy, Njoku, Harold Fannin, which was one of the best draft picks we've had.
Yeah, I'm excited to see him, because I don't care what people say. David Njoku is not that great. You know, he'll make a circus catch, but drop the easy 3 and 4. He reminds me a lot of Braylon Edwards, where they can't make the crucial 3rd down conversion, but they'll catch a Hail Mary out of bounds or something like that, and they'll actually catch it. And that's the thing that kills me about David Njoku. You know, I think he too worried about his body, how he looks, more than about playing football, you know. But like Braylon Edwards wanted to be a model. You remember Braylon Edwards, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he wanted to be a model after he finished playing football. So I'm all about dreams and aspirations and stuff like that. But you got to play football to get to that post football. So yeah, not a big fan of David Njoku right now. So they're excited to see Harold Fannin and see what he might bring. He's not as tall as David, but you know, he has been one of the best tight ends in Bowling Green history. So I'm definitely excited to see what he can be doing with the Cleveland Browns.
Right. And then Dylan Sampson is looking like a great pick right now with old Judkins' situation, obviously letting Chubb go. He's looking like Dylan Sampson. I mean, he was really good at Tennessee. I'm surprised he fell to the 4th round, honestly. I think that he is a phenomenal running back. And my friend actually got to talk to him because he was up at Beechwood Place not too long ago.
Oh, really?
And said that he was hurt for like the last 5 games of the season. Like hurt bad. That's why he didn't do well against Ohio State. And he's saying
most players don't.
Now he's saying now that this is the best shape he's been in a while, and he's really excited to go. He's going to get a lot of opportunities with him, Jerome Ford, and Judkins. I'm really excited for the defense, especially, and then the offense. Receivers, man. I don't know. I mean, Deontay Johnson, Jerry Jeudy, Cedric Tillman, and Jamari Thrash. That is probably the worst in the league. It might be the worst in the league. But Cedric Tillman is due for a breakout. Deontay Johnson, I think he's a good receiver, but to a lot of people, he's not. And Jerry Jeudy obviously had a breakout year last year.
Yeah.
I think I want to bring in, because there's still guys that are free agents. Obviously, we kind of burned that bridge with Amari Cooper, but he's still a free agent, and Keenan Allen's a free agent as well. But it'd be nice to have one of them to put next to Jerry Jeudy, but I don't know how likely that is. And then the quarterback situation, that's who knows at this point. Shador's still yet to receive any first-team reps, even with Kenny Pickett getting hurt. And I
Yeah.
like Dylan Gabriel a lot because I think Dylan Gabriel, if he were 6'4" and right-handed, would be the number one pick in the draft. But it's just that, people are talking about, oh, he's 5'8", 5'9", not that tall, left-handed. But he's the most accurate quarterback in the draft, I think. I think he has one of the strongest arms in the draft. It's just he fell so far because of the things you can't fix. I think teams would draft a guy like Jalen Milroe because you can work on his passing. You can't fix Dylan Gabriel's height or his handness.
Well, that's why you play the game, and we never know until he gets out there. Baker Mayfield wasn't the tallest, obviously he has a couple inches over Dylan Gabriel, but I think that if Baker had stayed here, we probably would be experiencing some success. Kyler Murray, but he's not as mobile as Kyler Murray. And Dylan Gabriel did great, this last season until he faced.
I said he finished third in the Heisman. He finished the highest quarterback in the high. Like, no one wants to realize how great he was.
Yeah. And you're playing in the Big Ten where a lot of guys are pretty much the average NFL player. So, he did great until he faced Ohio State. Now, that first game, they barely won. It was because Will Howard had some clock mismanagement on the last play of the game.
Yeah.
So, they barely got out of Oregon, with the win. And then, you got them on neutral territory at the Rose Bowl, and, we kind of exposed them. So I say a lot of people's tests are against Ohio State. How well do you play against Ohio State? Because that's pretty close to playing an NFL squad is playing against Ohio State. Like Sam Darnold, back when he played for USC, I was like, man, we're going to kick USC's butt. And what we did, and we exposed Sam Darnold, for, obviously he's had a career resurgence with Minnesota and stuff like that. But, Ohio State went ahead and took care of that, and they took care of Dylan the second time. So, I believe that Ohio State can expose a lot of teams' weaknesses and stuff like that. But, Oregon was riding high, and one of the reasons they was riding high was because of Dylan Gabriel. So, I'm kind of sad about what's happening with Shador. Definitely want Shador to get those first team reps to see, what he's about. You got a chance to see him at turn Jackson State around. You got a chance to see him turn Colorado around, and now you can see him turn the Cleveland Browns around if he has some chances. I believe, the whole fiasco about him dropping and all that, and I'm just kind of mad because I'm like, the Browns could have had Travis Hunter and they could have had Shador. So it's just like,
Yes, they could have.
Yeah,
they absolutely could have.
Yeah, they could have had that tandem that played together well. You would have added him to the wide receiver room. You would have added him to the cornerback room, for help on both sides of the ball. And the Browns just totally blew that. Because I believe that they were going to be the team to take Shador when it was all said and done.
Regardless, I think he was going to end up in Cleveland. Also, I just got breaking news from Adam Schefter talking about receivers on the Browns. This has nothing to do with the Browns. But Terry McLaurin just requested a trade from the Commanders.
Oh, okay.
Do the Browns have a shot at Terry McLaurin? I have been saying this for the longest and arguing with my guy who I run my podcast with. I'm like, the Browns are serious contenders for this guy, but no one wants to listen to me. They keep saying, oh, he's not leaving. He's not leaving. Now he just requested a trade. And Andrew Berry, I think Andrew Berry makes pretty good trades other than, the Deshaun one. Like, take away that one. Other than that, he's made – going to get Amari Cooper for very nothing, and then trading away Amari Cooper for better. Like, he makes trades like that for receivers, and now we have a chance to get Terry McLaurin. Is that a possibility for the Browns? If that's the case, that elevates this offense so much.
Yeah, you read off the names and was like, this is the worst in the NFL. Yeah, but Terry, like, I don't know who's gonna be throwing to me.
That's true. Yeah, they need to. I think it will be Joe Flacco, but I have a whole thing with Joe Flacco. I don't think that if Joe Flacco doesn't go out there and goes above 500 in the games he plays, that was just a waste of however many games he played. Because then if Joe Flacco starts the first 5 games, goes 0-5, why isn't Dylan Gabriel playing those games and I'd rather have Dylan Gabriel go 0-5 than Joe Flacco go 0-5, because then moving forward, we know, okay, Dylan Gabriel, he may not be the guy because we see he can't win already. And then, or Shador or Kenny Pickett, but Joe Flacco doing that, Joe Flacco's not going to be on the team next year. So we need to limit the reps to Joe Flacco and get as many as possible for our young quarterbacks so we can get a real feel of them. And maybe if the Jaguars or us are bad next year, none of these guys on our roster are the answer, and we go get Arch Manning, Garrett Nussmeier, Carson Beck, any of these quarterbacks in the draft.
Arch Manning has not proven himself yet
at all.
So why, like, I don't understand why people are talking about, getting Arch Manning when he ain't played in garbage time.
He started when Quinn Ewers was hurt for about 4 games. He went he played for 3 games. He went 3-0. Looked really well. Didn't play against any like top teams though.
But if he was better than Quinn, he would have been starting.
I think he was better than Quinn, honestly. That's just yeah, I think Quinn last year was his worst year. I mean, last year, like the year before, I think it was his best. I think this season I think it was just a thing of, okay, he's been here, he's our guy. Let's roll with him. That's why I think that he started last year. I mean, this upcoming quarterback class is the best quarterback class in a while. Garrett Nussmeier, like I said, Carson Beck. Who else am I forgetting?
What school does Garrett Nussmeier go to?
LSU.
Okay. Carson Beck.
And then obviously Arch Manning, Cade Klubnik from Clemson, Drew Allar. Like, this is a really, really deep quarterback class.
I don't think Drew Allar is that great.
Drew Allar, I think, is the projected number 1 pick overall next year, if not Garrett.
Seriously?
Yes.
And Arch Manning second?
Yeah, or Nussmeier third. It's either those are the top 3 in my opinion. If not, then Cade Klubnik from Clemson. But I think Drew Allar is very overhated, like very overhated.
I don't hate him at all. I don't care. I've just seen what he's done against Ohio State, and once again,
he was also 1 game away from the national championship, though. I feel like you can't take that away from him.
And then they would have lost Ohio State again.
Yeah, I mean, whoever lost that game or won that game was losing Ohio State. We knew that. But
so I don't think he's had a win against Ohio State since he's been in school. They said James Franklin was coming to Medina High School in helicopters and stuff like that, coming to get that guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, he hasn't experienced success against Ohio State, and that, for me, that's a measuring stick. So, I guess.
Yeah, I think the quarterback at the University of Cincinnati right now, Brendan Sorsby, is the most underrated quarterback in this draft. I don't know if he's going to come out this year. Yeah, I think he's going to be like better than like Nico Amalavea. I think he's one of the most talented, especially because I work for the team. I think he's the most talented quarterback I've ever seen on a college level live.
Okay.
It's like what he's doing. You guys will hear his name. He's nominated for the Maxwell Award this year, which is the best player in college football. He's nominated for that already as a preseason. So his name's going to be thrown around a lot, especially with the roster Cincinnati has right now. I think he's going to really rise on that draft stock, and we'll be talking about him. Maybe not on that Arch Manning and Garrett Nussmeier level, but I think he'll be like a tier below there.
Because you get Arch Manning against Ohio State the first game. So we'll be
gosh, yes, that's gonna show a lot.
So we'll be able to get a glimpse of, how he plays against good teams with that game. It's in Texas. So you got home cooking going. You
Yeah.
know, it's going to be rowdy. They're going to be looking for revenge,
Mhm.
being knocked out of the playoffs by Ohio State to make it to the national championship. So you're going to have so many storylines going,
Oh yeah.
with that game. But I don't think Arch Manning is going to be able to beat Ohio State. That's just my personal opinion,
Yeah.
So it'll
We'll learn a lot
definitely
about Julian Saying as well.
about who?
Julian Saying, Ohio State's quarterback. We'll see
Oh,
what
I
he's
know.
about.
And today was their first day of practice as well.
Hmm.
So I got my friend that covers the Ohio State Buckeyes. He wasn't able to make it on the show today, so I got to get his opinion on how they look today on the first day of practice.
Hmm.
So I'm super excited for this season to defend the national championship. I'm like, hey, let's go, Ohio State, and let's defend that. We really haven't defended a national championship and won two in a row. So
Ever.
but whenever there's a new format, Ohio State seems to win, you
Hmm.
know.
They did it
So
the first time. They did it
yeah.
now.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting to see if they can repeat. So yeah, this you said Julian Saying, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so it's definitely going to be. We're going to see. Is he the quarterback? Will Howard is gone. Will Howard wasn't the best quarterback. He came from Kansas State.
Right.
But he got us through. It's different coming from Kansas State to playing Ohio State, and I think any average quarterback can be excellent and amazing. So he came with all that, and they were able to win the title. So I want to see Ohio State be able to defend that title. So when it comes to the Cleveland Browns, though, how many games you got us winning?
The first 5 games of the year are ridiculous as far as the schedule goes, but I think it's gonna fall somewhere similar into that range where you said that 6 to 7. But we could also, I think the low end is 4. I mean, looking at their schedule, mm, I think that the highest they would win if if Shador, Gabriel, Flacco are the guys. I think the absolute ceiling where the Cleveland Browns are playing the best football possible, the ceiling is 10 games because we do have a weak schedule towards the end of the year. Dolphins, Patriots, I don't know how they're going to be. Jets, and then Titans. I think we can beat the Bengals. I think we'll split with the Steelers, split with the Ravens. But it's just that start against, those hard teams of the Ravens, Packers, Lions, Vikings to start.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the low is 5 and the high is 10.
Wow. Yeah, even though Miami sucks, we struggle against them.
Every year.
You got the Patriots sucking, and we have not did well against them. So
Drake May,
I
though.
wouldn't say it's a mind thing, but we do not do well against those teams for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I think that they have an opportunity to possibly beat Green Bay. I would love for Green Bay to come in here and get beat. Because Green Bay doesn't, comes like every 4 or 5 years to Cleveland. So I would love for us to be able to beat them here in Cleveland. So there'll be a lot of Packers fans here too, which I absolutely hate. But I want to see that game be one that they can win. And it looks like Ohio State takes on Penn State November 1st, and that will be at Ohio State. So definitely want to get another look at Drew Aller because I'm not watching their games. Kind of like I'll try to maybe watch the Michigan game or something like that when they play against Michigan, and usually they end up losing to Michigan. So yeah. But yeah, so I want to get another look at Drew Aller again and see what the hype is about because I mean, we handled them last year, and that's one of the things, how State gets in here and handle these quarterbacks. So I'm just not worried, but it's not like I'm watching Penn State all year or any of these other quarterbacks in these other conferences. So, they have the opportunity to prove it. And Arch Manning will have the opportunity to prove himself the first game of the season. So that's a 12 o'clock game too. That must be on Fox.
Yeah. It's gonna be
They always have the 12 o'clock game on Fox, big noon kickoff. So
yeah.
that'll be on Fox. Oh, we got Grambling too. That's not fair.
Grambling week 2, yeah.
Yeah.
When the schedule came out, everyone thought we were playing Georgia week 2 because
Oh
it looked
God, are you
legit.
serious?
Oh, that would be crazy if everyone's when Ohio State posted their schedule, everyone's commenting, man, that's rough. Georgia and Texas back to back, man. I'm like, that is Grambling State. Like, it's
Oh my
no
God.
worries there.
You ain't never seen no yellow in Georgia, nothing. So yeah, that sucks. I'm sorry. I feel sorry for Grambling because they're gonna come here and get their butts whooped. But they'll get a couple $1 million for doing that. So that helps out with their athletic programs and helps out with the school and stuff like that. And then Ohio University, so yeah, that's gonna be a blowout too. So it is what it is. But Emerson, I want to thank you for being able to come on to the show today. You were amazing as always. I thank you so much, and I look forward to having you on in the future. And you guys have been listening to Her in a Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM, and we are out of here.
See ya. Thank you.
Thank you.